Thank you for coming, Internet. We need to talk.
I try and log into the Wi-Fi, and suddenly my address, my credit cards, my bank account, it's all out there.
Take control of your online safety with Avast. Download award-winning free digital protection today.
Okay, how about now? Can you hear me now? Somebody? Anybody? I'm using the right audio. Good? We got it? Yes? We're good? Got sound. Okay, thank you. Jesus. So, for whatever reason, I had this all set up for to go, and every time I default, it goes back to the default settings, which is selecting nothing. So now I'm finally getting it. So let me start what I started saying over. Okay, we're good. Thank you. Thank you for telling me we're good. We're good. Okay, so the purpose of this is a Nowstream live cast, and we're going to be kind of seeing where we are in relation to where the model's expected it to be and what we expect for our projections. Okay, so, okay, I know we're good. All right, that's great. So how about we just, I'm going to get to a question and answer session, and that's going to be at the end. I just want to go through my spiel first here and see where we're at, and then we'll go from there, okay? We had our final call map out that we do not expect to make any changes to at 5 o'clock publicly, anyway. We put that out, and some people thought that was a little bit of an aggressive approach there, but it was, if you were following along over the last 24 hours or so, since we put out the previous map, you noticed that we kept shifting. Everything kept shifting further northwest. Not far enough northwest for some of you to be satisfied. I get it. By the way, I am, somebody asked me in the comments if I'm drinking tonight. I am done work for the day, so I am on to the beer. If you can guess what beer this is, you're good. Because I bet you're not going to be able to guess what this is. This is very good. It's a stout. But I needed it. It's been a long week. I've had 0 sleep. I had 3 hours of sleep last night. 3. So I'm running on fumes. My entire staff is on fumes right now. So anyway, so this is the current radar that we're looking at here. This is the Mount Holly radar. You see some snow streaking across the northern 2/3 of Delaware. Actually, pretty much all of Southeast PA is getting into some snow. It's just very, very fine, very light. Okay, a little bit more concentrated across South Jersey and the northern 2/3 of Delaware right now. So this is kind of where we expected this to be. If you take a look at the European model, this is the newest run, the 18Z run. That's exactly where it has it at this point. As far as the low pressure placement, where it's supposed to be, the new European model that I'm going to show you the snow map for in a minute is in line with where it should be. Actually, I moved ahead here. Let me move it back to where the current hour. This is actually 7 p.m. It should be southeast of the Outer Banks down here. And guess where it is? Right there. Same pressure. We're good. So that means the European model is this is Blueberry Maple Stout. It's a Saugatuck Brewing Company, and it's very good. I can only have like 1 or 2 of these though. They're very filling, almost like a Guinness, where you have it feels like you had a whole meal. So anyway, our observations are matching up to what the European model is suggesting it should be at this point. The low pressure is sitting here. This is what the latest snow map did on the 18Z European model. Now, people have trashed the European model. I didn't trash it, but I was kind of skeptical about some of the things it was showing when it was on its own with this far west of a lean. And if you follow the morning videos that I do every single morning, talking about this throughout the week, I was pointing out that the European model was the farthest west, and the GFS has been kind of owning it this year. Well, not this time it hasn't. Not this time, okay? So the GFS was offshore for a couple days and then finally decided to come in yesterday in line with what the European model had. So this is a win for the king, so to speak. If it wants to take its crown back, so be it. I'm going to get your questions, by the way, at the end of this video. I'm going to go through the spiel first and show you what we're doing. But this is pretty much in line with what we have for our map and the westernmost extent of it. If you did not see that map, it is right here. And I'll explain these numbers to you and what this is. The areas up in here, in this gray area, this is all a coating to an inch between now and midnight. Okay, so you're getting some like real light, fine stuff out there, occasionally, intermittently, and that's it. But the westernmost extent is going to be just short of Harrisburg. So I think Lebanon gets into that. This is all a 1 to 3 area in Area B. which is this whole light blue area. This is all 1 to 3, okay? Yesterday, we had that over eastern Poconos, Lehigh Valley, and all the way down to eastern Lancaster, Chester County, that kind of thing. So this did certainly shift northwest from what we saw before. So this area C now is 3 to 5. There's a very fine line. If you're in places like Reading, you are on the line of 1 to 3 and 3 to 5. A lot of people always ask me in the comments, and this is a fair question. I don't mind these questions. You always put me on the line of 1 to 3 and 3 to 5, or 3 to 5 and 5 to 8. I don't know which one I'm supposed to choose. Well, if you're on the line, if you're somewhere in Reading here, between 1 to 3 and 3 to 5, expect around 3, maybe on the higher side of 3, but you're still probably closer to 3 there. So this is incrementally increasing going southeast all the way to the coast. So if you're up in Pottsville, you're just making it into the 1 to 3 inch range. So you're probably closer to the 1 than the 3, if that makes sense. Same thing up here in Wilkes-Barre. But as you move further southeast, northwest parts of Berks County, far northern Lehigh County here, you're probably only in the 1 to 3. You get down to Allentown, and it's between 3 and 5, but Allentown's right in the middle of that. So what is that? Probably around 4. Okay, so that should be what I consider common sense is based on me being a meteorologist and understanding this crap. You guys don't do this every single day, so you might not understand that. I understand where you're coming from. So that's what you do. This area D here, by the way, is 5 to 8 inches of snow. Philadelphia is included in that, but you see the rate on the line of 5 to 8 and the next level, which is 8 to 12. So if you're on this side of that line in the 5 to 8, you're probably about 7.5 in Philadelphia, something like that. And then just east of there, look at these gradients. Look how tight they are from northwest to southeast. This next gradient here is the 8 to 12, and that includes far southeastern Bucks. So if you're in places like northeast Philly, what are these? Feasterville, Trevose. What's the place the Sesame place is in? Langhorne? I think it's Langhorne. That's down here too. So those places are in the 8 to 12, but you're just barely above 8 there. So you might get like 9, maybe 10, that kind of thing. And then in this red area is 12 to 18. The highest potential within that range to see 18 or above would be from Toms River down to Atlantic City. Right along the coastal areas, most of Ocean County here, southeastern coastal areas of Monmouth, and the same thing, the coastal areas of Atlantic County. That's where I think you have the best opportunity to see the upper ends of this snow. And they actually have, the National Weather Service actually has, I don't have that map in front of me, I don't believe. No, I don't have it. But they do have blizzard warnings that are extended all the way down in these areas like this. These are all under blizzard warnings right along the coast. And actually that includes parts of Long Island too, that central part of Long Island. So the same areas we have, they're pretty much agreeing with what we have. That's not an issue. So these areas are expected to get the most snow. It is not going to make a miraculous turn northwest and all of a sudden nail people further northwest. I will tell you though, even though we have our final map out, which is what you're looking at, this is a very delicate situation with the phasing coming together just at the right time, and I'll show you that too. But if it is off by just 1 hour earlier on the projected phase time, then this thing is going to come a little bit further northwest. Everything shifts northwest. If it's an hour later, it's further east, okay? There's no indication of that right now that they're off, at least not the short-range stuff. So I don't think that we're going to have that issue. I will say the 3-kilometer NAM that people were moaning about is probably going to be off, okay? So the 3-kilometer NAM is what we use for this future simulator radar. Actually, I'll show you that image here. I'm actually going to use the 12Z, the 12Z version of 3-kilometer NAM because I think it has a better idea of what's going on, and it has this snow across South Jersey and the northern 2/3 of Delaware that we are currently seeing, which is here. So it's right with that, okay? So it has that idea of that snow streak coming in, and then as I move this forward, you can see the snow continuing to progress across the region as we get into the late evening and overnight. Now, you are going to cut off up in these areas after midnight, okay? You're then going to have the coastal storm only as part of this influence moving into just those eastern areas. You can see that those are the areas getting snow overnight into Saturday morning. And when's this going to end? It looks like it's going to be stopping here between like 9 a.m. and noon for our eastern Pennsylvania areas that are getting snow overnight from the coastal, okay? And then when I move this forward a little bit further, it's going to be taking till about maybe even late afternoon to get off the coast, okay? So it's going to take, so it's called between 2 and 4, okay? it finally exits. But they're going to be snowing there longer, and you can see on this radar, the darker blues are certainly down here. Okay, those are your darker blues are in the South Jersey and Delaware area. So there's going to be no issue with getting that heavy snow there. This is a high ratio snow that was figured into this snow map, by the way. This snow map that we did, these are figured in.
Thank you for coming, Internet.
So
you know that we love you, but things have changed.
It is going to be something that is going to be high ratio snow.
I don't trust
as much
you
as
anymore.
15
I
to
used to
1
feel like we had a really
in
good
the interior. So
relationship, and
15
now I
inches of snow
feel
for every 1 inch
like
of liquid equivalent.
super unsafe.
Of course,
He
we're
gave
not
me a
getting that
virus.
much of liquid
Dad,
equivalent in the
I think
interior,
somebody's
so
bought the computer,
you're not seeing
and they're
15
asking
inches
for
of snow. But
Bitcoin?
that's
What
the
is this
ratio
Bitcoin?
of
This
snow
photo, I
to
thought it
rain
was
here in those
private.
areas. And further
Take
south, it's more
control
like
of your
12 to
online
15 to
safety
1. I don't
with
know why that
Avast.
thing's going on in the
Download
background. Hold on one
award-winning
second.
free digital protection today.
Oh, there it goes. Apparently, this video cam that I use for Philadelphia, which, by the way, shows it's dark there. This is Logan Square, Ben Franklin Parkway. The art museum's in the back. It is snowing in Philadelphia. It's not sticking on the roads just yet, but everything else is getting covered, as you can see. If you can zoom in there and see that. But it runs an ad every once in a while, so it starts talking. Stupid ads. I do the same thing you people want to make going on my website to look at the snow map, so I can't complain about ads. I can't. It's a moneymaker. Whatever. Advertisement audio. Maybe I could turn it off. Is that a way to do that? I could barely figure out even how to turn the audio on at the beginning of this video, so you want me to mess with that? I think I'm just going to... Here we go. Desktop audio. How do you... there we go. We turn that all the way down, so hopefully you don't hear that anymore. Hopefully. Okay. Anyway... so that's what we're looking at. So we go into the NAM's evolution here. Now the NAM expected nothing to be here over eastern North Carolina this evening. Nothing. The NAM, it was the 3 kilometer anyway, was a little bit too far east. This convection, if you were following the North Carolina radar this evening, there was convection in fact over eastern North Carolina. And that convection is now getting ready to move off, but it missed it. It completely missed it. So because it missed it, the idea there that the precipitation shield on the western side is going to be a little more expansive is a little bit more plausible. And here is this is the water vapor loop. This is an interesting thing that I want to show you. The water vapor loop will show you where this trough is coming in. The trough is sitting right out here. And I can even draw all over this. So the trough base is right down here, and it's sitting like this. So this is it's almost a neutral trough. It's very slightly positively tilted at this point. It's going to swing negative by the time we get to tomorrow morning, okay? So it's going to be a slow process, but this is what will, if it turned negative faster, it would have pulled this low even closer to the coast, but that's not going to happen. It's not going to be happening in time for us, but it will happen in time for eastern New England. They're going to get a tremendous amount of snow out of that. 18 to 24 is what they're expecting up there, with some localized amounts to 30 is what the National Weather Service blizzard warnings are expecting up in these areas. Rhode Island, eastern Massachusetts, part of southeastern Connecticut. They're going to get hit pretty hard there. Need a drink here. Hold on. So anyway, let's get out of that. So this is the mid-level water vapor that I'm looking at here, and upper level water vapor will show it even better with that trough. You can see where that trough is right there. See that big bowl kind of moving toward us. So that's your mid-level water or upper level water vapor. Everything's kind of working together here. As far as phasing, yes, it is. The phase is occurring. So the northern stream is diving into the system, which is offshore. So we are getting the phase starting. So we're starting to see a drop in pressure pretty rapidly over the last several hours, and this is the beginning of the phase, okay? So everything looks to me, as far as I can see right now, there's nothing jumping out at me and saying, well, maybe this won't work out the way we planned. I don't see that now. Doesn't mean it can't down the road when I'm sleeping overnight, because I will be sleeping, and early tonight because I'm beat. It doesn't mean it can't happen. But everything at this point, when I'm looking at it, at here sitting at 7:36 p.m., this is looking like it's going to be on track. Okay, so there's the convection. See that convection over East North Carolina? The NAM didn't have that. Didn't have it. Missed it. It was further east off. It had it, but it was further east offshore with it. So the fact that it was a little bit further west over eastern North Carolina might be an indication the NAM was a little bit too far east, the 3 kilometer NAM. So when I was showing the simulated radar, if I look at the snow map for this, I go to the new run here, 18Z. This is what kind of freaked people out. See how far east it is here? And it shifted east from this previous run, but it's an off-hour run. So sometimes off-hour runs, they don't have fresh data in them, so they're kind of going off old data and trying to assimilate what's going to happen in between hours, and they're not as reliable sometimes as the on-hour runs are. So if the new NAM comes in, looks like this, then we might have to at least consider it and see where we are and reevaluate. But I think right now we're in a good spot. And as far as total snowfall here on the 3 kilometer NAM, it was ugly, right? Ugly. Now, it wasn't too far east of our map, but it certainly was east of our map. This would be a very ugly if this were to happen, and this would be a bust for a lot of areas. And you just have, you'd be in the lower end of these ranges that we have right now, and these western fringe would lose out on it. Basically, that's how it would work out. So everything would be on the lower end of ranges if the name was correct, but I don't think it is because it's missing that convection initially. It looks like it's a little bit too far east at initialization, so we should be okay. We should be okay with that. So everything's lining up here exactly how I thought it was going to play out, and this is working out just like the NAM is suggesting, the regular NAM that was correct. So I think we're okay. Here's another look at that deep trough here. It's still very slightly positively tilted. When we talk about positively tilted troughs, since those of you, not all of you are versed what I'm talking about, here's your trough sitting right in here, right? See how there's a lean? Think of it like a clock, okay? So I'm going to put an axis right in the middle of this. Well, this isn't a due north-south thing. It's kind of like this at a 5 to 10 degree angle, leaning to the right. So that's a positively tilted trough. If this trough instead right now was like this, that would be a negatively tilted trough. Okay, that's all that is. So when you hear us talking about, that's what I'm talking about. Right now at this point is not supposed to be negatively tilted. Is getting very close to neutral, which is about what it should be doing at this point. So again, everything is still in line as far as that's concerned. And here's a look at the 500 millibar look from the model, which is the new 18Z run of the European model. And you can see this is phased, but even at this point, this is looking at Saturday morning. You're just starting to get a slight negative tilt to this. Just starting to. Okay? And that's not until tomorrow morning. Okay? And that's the system's going to be pulling away. It's going to benefit the short points, certainly, tremendously there. But it's not going to really affect the interior areas that will be starting to wind down at that point. Okay? And then once we get up to, places like Boston and Providence, I mean, they're going to get a full out blizzard up there. No doubt in my mind. Okay? So they're going to be doing pretty good. The other aspect of this I want to talk about is the wind real quick. I will get to your questions. Give me a second to finish this part, because the wind is the important thing. It is the lucky thing for us this time is this is a dry, powdery snow, and it's not very heavy. This is very good for power outages, right? So even if it's windy, it's not the best situation. It's going to be cold tomorrow, and the wind chills are going to suck. I'm going to just be blatantly obvious, or plainly obvious that it's going to be pretty cold when you step outside tomorrow. So the wind chills are going to make it below zero at times, because we're going to have temperatures not getting out of the teens in most places, and some areas further southeast might get into the lower 20s. Whoop-de-doo. That's cold, okay? So with these winds that are going to come in, they're going to increase a little bit overnight, just a little breezy tomorrow morning, okay? And then the winds are going to really pick up, I think, as we get into the late morning through mid-evening hours. That's probably your ground zero as far as the winds are concerned. They're going to be a little bit higher near the shore points. We can see some wind gusts there that are 25 to 35, gusting as high as 45 miles per hour right along the immediate coast, and that's the reason for the blizzard warnings. You have the heavy snow and winds out high. All you need is 3 consecutive hours of 35 miles per hour sustained winds or greater, with heavy snow limiting visibility below, I believe, a quarter mile. Okay, I think that's the criteria for a blizzard. So there is certainly, that's the reason for the blizzard warnings there. It's not about quantity of snow. People think blizzard, they think, 3 feet of snow. It's not about the quantity of snow. It has to do with visibility being limited for 3 consecutive hours in conjunction with winds 35 miles per hour or greater, sustained winds, not just gusts, okay? So that's what they're expecting down in those areas in the coastal regions for that region. In the interior, we're looking at 15 to 25 miles per hour sustained winds. You're going to have gusts 30 to 35 miles per hour in the lower elevations, and then the high elevations, Poconos, that kind of thing, will be up to 40, okay? So that's what we're looking at. That's it in a nutshell as far as winds. These are going to die down, though, as we get past mid-evening. They're going to start to slowly diminish, and then by the time we get to Sunday morning, it's not really that much to write home about, so we're okay after that point. But as far as power outages, when it's a heavy wet snow and it kind of and it just sits on the branches, or if you have heavy ice, and it just sits on the branches and the tree branches and the power lines, that's what causes your outages when it starts getting windy. Okay, this is a fluffy, powdery, dry snow. Excuse me. Time to drink again. That's good. Anyway, so if it's lighter and fluffier, it's going to blow off the power lines and trees, right? So that's it. So that's what we're looking at. as far as winds are concerned. So just a quick summary. I think everything is on track with this. I know we just put it out 2.5 hours ago. We actually, technically, if you look at the timestamp on these on the map that I have on weather alerts, it says map effective time is 1830Z, which is universal time, which means we had this out at 1:30. That was in our premium forum. If you were a member of our premium forum, we had this out at 1:30. So we decided what we were going to do at 1:30 already and drew up this map. And then we sent alerts, the text alerts, based on this map. We just had to include timing and things like that for each individual county and sent those out. And that was it. So the public gets it at 5, of course, after we do all of our private stuff. We had to send this out to our clients and all that other nonsense too. So that's how that works. But it was actually done at 1:30 today. So this is actually technically 6 hours old. But this is going to be a for everything I'm looking at right now. This looks like we are lining up with our snow map that we have out now. I don't see any reason to change it. Not that we change it now anyway. But sometimes there are last minute changes, especially when you're dealing with a system that's phasing and requires that, like I said, it only takes an hour difference. If you're off by an hour with that phase point in time, or the models anyway, are wrong on that phase point in time, the entire thing gets thrown out the window. I can give you plenty of examples in the past. I think 2015 was Juno. I like these little pet names they have from the Weather Channel too. They just love them. And I don't even know what this one's called. Somebody probably knows what it's called. The Weather Channel named this one. I don't know what they called it. But anyway, I think it was Juno in 2015, or Nemo maybe, one of them. And we were expecting a big storm, kind of like this, where Eastern8 was supposed to get like in the 8 to 14 inch range or something, and it ended up being like an inch, and that's it because it shifted to east last minute. So we'll see. Can this come west too? Yeah, sure, it could. I mean, I don't see any indication of that just yet. I don't see any indication of that yet. Here's this is the latest 18Z European model. Just got done finishing 30 minutes ago, okay? So this is hot off the press. It matches our map, okay? Now, it doesn't, our map's oriented different than this, but it's the same thing. I mean, it's a different resolution. So it looks like it's not, but it is. This is if you match up these counties here, the 1 to 3 is out here, 3 to 5 in the middle. So it's matching up, okay? And ratios are already factored into this snow map. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the questions, and I think there's a slight lag. There's a slight lag here in the comments. So as I get them, I will answer whatever questions you have for this storm. So I'll wait till those start coming in because we're still waiting. This thing's delayed on my end. It's completely delayed. Am I doing something wrong? All right, there we go. Okay, so I don't think I saw any. Future trends look for the Lehigh Valley to get thumped. Well, I don't think that's going to end up happening. I think we're pretty true to what we have for our snow map, which is here. Again, we did this at 1:30. We put this together at 1:30, and I don't see any reason to change based on everything I went through in this video as far as where observationally we are, where the model's expected to be. The NAM 3-kilometer NAM, the future simulator radar, was a little bit too far east, I think. But when we get to you get to everything else that seems to be in line with our map, everything is kind of lining up of where it should be right now. February storm signal. I did have time to do before that, somebody asked me about the Hurricane Hunters. I do not know if they are continuing to fly in here. I don't think they are. I think they're done with their missions. I'm not positive on that, though. Okay. So, Jonathan, I'm not completely sure if that is still happening or not. Coastal flooding, New Jersey shore, that is a possibility. In our forum, I know JC usually handles this. He's from Weather New Jersey. We have a partnership and a collaboration with this whole thing, so he does all the New Jersey stuff. So the parts of New Jersey on the map that were this map here, he really had a big input on exactly how that laid out. He also put a section of the coastal tidal flooding here in the eastern regions. There is a risk for that along the immediate points here, but there's no coastal flood advisories up here, so I don't think it's going to be a huge deal, but it's certainly possible. Right along the immediate coast, that is certainly possible. February 8th storm signal. the long-range outlook I did have a chance to do this morning amidst all this. It was crazy. I went from waking up this morning, dealing with clients, asking about what's going on with this storm. Then I had to put something up in the forum. So I'm doing all near-term hyper-focus stuff, right? And then I had to go and put on a different hat altogether, long range, which is a completely different animal. So I did list a storm signal in there between February 7th and February 9th, okay? So you're asking about the 8th, that's right in the middle of that. So there is the possibility that we could have something else in there. And the reason being, yes, we are going to be near 50 degrees, or if not over in some places next week. It's synoptically driven warmth. As a matter of fact, I can show you that. And it is just because a system is cutting off to our west. So it's a very transient thing, okay? Very transient. Here it is. So there's been nothing going on after the storm exits all the way until Wednesday night. You get some showers, rain showers, because it's going to be warm enough Wednesday where you don't have to worry about any kind of frozen precipitation. And then Thursday you have showers and periods of rain as this low pressure cuts right over Pittsburgh, basically, and it's pretty far in the interior is going to get rain because that system's cutting to the west, okay? So as we can, and then as soon as you have that go through, Friday and beyond, you have this big deep trough settle in, and it's just cold, okay? Very cold. European model does not go as far to get into that signal. It gets something close here around there, but there is a signal right there between the 7th and the 9th. The European model runs out of range here. We will have more winter opportunities. I will say that February does not look as cold as it once did. When I was doing the long range last week, it looked like we were going to have a near average month and some above average periods thrown in there. We're going to have some above average transient periods, but the majority of the time it's going to be the month of February is going to be slightly below average. And so as far as the entire month is concerned, we have -1 to -3 degrees -1 to -3 degrees below average is what we're looking at. So I think we will have some opportunities in February. We do have near average snowfall for now. We'll see how that goes. And that should be about it for that. Okay. Give yourself a beer. I got a beer. This is Saugatuck Brewing Company Blue Maple Stout. And you can only drink like 1 or 2 of these. It's not because it's that strong of an alcohol. It's just because it's a stout. And it's like you're drinking a meal almost. So not quite as bad as Guinness, but it's good. Look, my camera shut off. Awesome. I got to find a new camera that's free and I can stick on there and it has a good resolution. I'm in New Hampshire. Will Boston be destroyed? Boston, I think, is very solid, 18 to 24, with some isolated amounts around the city that are going to be approaching, if not exceeding, 30. That's a pretty strong projection there, but I don't see a situation where this is not going to happen. I'm going to have the radar up here while I'm talking here, by the way. Southeastern PA radar showing the snow. Chance the precip shield expanding some of the heavier snow west. It is a possibility. Again, it's just about the phase point. If it's an hour earlier, just an hour earlier with that phase point, it can pull this west. I don't see any indications that's going to happen right now. I think we're pretty set with what we have projected, but that's a finely tuned detail. It can go east just the same way, though. Keep that in mind. So I think we're in that middle of that phase point, and everything seems to be lining up right now. So I don't think there's any reason to really change our projections at this point. What is the tipping point for understanding phasing timing? Meaning, at what time would you expect phasing to be confirmed? Well, we're actually seeing phasing occurring. So if you look on the, it's the start of the phase right now anyway. Let me get the right image. Which that's upper. Okay, here's upper level. So here's the southern stream right here. This is going to be moving, so it's going to be hard for... Actually, I can stop this. Here we go. Go to the... Oops. There we go. Whoops. Stop. Okay. All right, just so I can draw on it. So the southern stream is coming right over Florida like this. Here's your southern stream, right like this. Okay. Northern stream is diving in like this. So they are meeting right here. So they're starting to... It's not fully merged yet, okay? It's starting to... starting to have this phase right now, but it's not completely there. The model's projected it would be somewhere, if the phase point of these jets would occur, would be, and the low pressure, by the way, is down here. Okay, so it's sitting southeast of this phase point. As this whole trough is going to swing in this direction, so it's going to catch up to this low, and then once it does, it's going to go to one of these numbers, come back a little bit, and then go like that. Okay, so that's kind of the general track this is going to do. So, and the point where it's up here, this is going to be up here is going to be Saturday morning. The phase point where it's supposed to be phased enough where it starts swinging the trough, it's actually starting to do that now. It was a positively tilted trough. It's starting to swing towards neutral right now, and by tomorrow morning it'll be negative. But the models are, I don't know the exact point relative to this map here. I want to say it was just east of the Outer Banks, North Carolina, is when we were fully phased, and then this thing pulled out. So it's going to be pretty close. Pretty close. I don't see this being too much or too far off of what we now have. So hopefully that'll answer a couple questions here. A couple of you were asking about the phasing there. Can I have a party on Sunday? Yes, sure. It's going to be cold Sunday, just not really windy. It shouldn't be too bad. It'll be mostly sunny Sunday. Let's see. Easton is closer to the 5-inch mark since we are near the 5-inch mark, correct? Easton is probably same as, I'd say maybe like 4 to 5. It's probably a good estimation there. Again, it's going to be less northwest. So if you're up in Nazareth, you're probably closer to 3. But Easton, yeah, you're probably like between 4 and 5. How much is it going to suck delivering mail in Allentown area tomorrow? Well, yeah, it's not going to be good. Bundle up. God bless you. So, Lake Ariel, Wayne County. That is, I want to say that's really close to Wallenpaupack, right? Or I think it's north of there. It is north of there. Lake Ariel. I go to Wallenpaupack up there, but that's on the border of Pike and Monroe, I believe. Or, yeah, Pike and Wayne, I mean. But, yeah, up there, you should be just a couple inches there, maybe, 2-3 inches. Here's what you're looking at up that way. Has the band of snow around Philly on the frontal boundary that went through earlier as part of the storm? Both. The answer is both. You have... So, I can't do it on that one. Jesus. I need like a radar that's like expanded here. I only have this crappy one to use here. National Weather Service used to have some really good radars we could use that, and they got rid of them. I don't know why they got rid of them, but they got rid of them. They wanted to upgrade it, which is not an upgrade. So you have a frontal boundary that's associated with a trough, and since this is not moving, this is good, okay? So I can write over this. So you have a deep trough that I showed you in the previous images are like this. So this cold front is on the lead of that trough. Your low pressure is actually down here. So in between, you're getting this area in between is an area of convergence. So it's just like an area of greater lift. You're getting a little bit more lift because you're in a squeeze play between these two boundaries. You have the low pressure has its own boundary creates, and then you have the cold front right here. So in the area in the middle is a convergence area. So you have rapidly rising, or at least rising motion in that column of air there, and you get some precipitation falling. By the way, somebody was asking me about moisture. Like, is there not, that it's too dry? I mean, I don't know where you're hearing this from. It's not dry anywhere across our region, so that's not a concern. So I don't know who's saying that, though. Your low-level moisture is plenty. Here's your... Oh, I keep forgetting to change that. Let me go to the low-level water vapor, okay? You got plenty of moisture here. There's no problem there. So whoever's telling you that is full of it. I mean, out here it's dry. It's not dry here. We have plenty of moisture here. So you probably get some of these areas that are getting like really fine granular snow. It's like up in these areas, like places like even the Lehigh Valley you're getting some like real almost like mist falling as snow. It's plenty saturated. There's not even that little stuff is falling to the ground because it's just it doesn't have to be heavy in order to do that. Okay, so that's not going to be an issue. The 93-96 blizzards followed negative trough. Yes, they did. You're going to have a big blizzard. You have to have the trough turn negative. That's the only way it is. No two ways about that. Some models show a big difference in totals for the northern to southern Lehigh Valleys. This caused by downslope for the Poconos. Mitch, I think that's a good question. So on that map we have, see this area that sticks out here that's a little bit higher? You're getting some downsloping off the mountains there. Or I'm sorry, upsloping, not downsloping. Upsloping up here. And that's like you get that as that low pressure moves up, you get a little bit of a southeasterly component around that low pressure just temporarily, but it's enough to enhance totals a little bit. It's kind of like when you have the orographic lift. Well, that's exactly what it is. It's like an orographic lift principle. It kind of squeeze out extra moisture. Only this time it's falling in the form of snow. But yeah, underneath that, so southern Carbon, far northern Lehigh, that's kind of stuck in the middle of no man's land. That's why you're not getting that downsloping is not affecting these areas all the way down here. If you didn't have those mountains there, this 1 to 3 inch range would probably go and connect just like this, and none of this would be here. But because these are the higher terrain, you're getting that upsloping against those mountains, and it's helping out. Good question, very good question actually. That's what I'm here for. I like questions like that. How excited are you for spring? Oh, you have no idea. You have no idea. So I love the winter in the beginning of winter, but then we didn't have a beginning of winter because everybody said, remember the front load of winter we were supposed to get? Yeah, that didn't happen. So we waited till January to get any kind of appreciable snow anywhere. And most of this month has been nickel and dime stuff anyway, except when you get down, of course, southeast of I-95 has been cashing in. But the rest of us are like 3 inches here, 2 inches here, and it adds up, I guess. But it's, there's been nothing big, and I understand your frustration if you are a snow lover in the interior and seeing all these big storms pass by you to your west, to your north, your south, your east. It's crazy. I get it. But I'm definitely had my fill with winter by this point, and I'm ready to move on. Yeah, the Keenan, that's right. I did hear that. The name of this winter storm Keenan. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. I was just Okay, so let me keep going here. I just want to get as many questions as I have. Is there any chance of a dry slot entering into this? Bill, no. The reason there's not. Now, that's a good question, too, because normally in these situations there is. But this is going to be far enough offshore where you won't have that. So you have a... Good Lord, I get so many tabs open here. Since this is far enough offshore, your dry slot in this case would be right in here. Dry slot's going to come right into here. Whoops. I had the eraser on. That's awesome. Dry slot would come right into here. Somehow I got a huge line now. But since it's far enough shore, the only thing you're getting here is the cold conveyor belt wrapping around the top side of the low. So there's no dry slot for anywhere in our area. That might be a factor in maybe eastern New England for a time, and it might allow them to cut down on totals. I hope not for their sake, because all those people really want a lot of snow, or most of them do. I don't know how I changed my line size there. I have a lot of things I'm trying to figure out here, and as I'm going. And I haven't been doing live streams that long. I need to have these fine-tuned, though, because when I get into severe weather season, I don't want to be sitting here going, especially with my audio in the beginning, that was a disaster. Thank you for bearing with me on that. These fish are final flight for the storm. Oh, okay. Brandon, thanks. I think it's Brandon. He's talking about the hurricane hunters. He said that was the final flight for the hurricane hunters for this storm. Darker gray over the Finger Lakes area in New York. I assume you're talking about my map? No, not my map. What are you talking about? Since these aren't coming in real time, maybe it's on this. That's just a little bit of light snow, some lake effect snow, and nothing to do with the coastal. Could there be thunder snow? If you're going to have thunder snow, I would think probably not, but with that cold... Well, I don't want to say that. So with the cold conveyor belt that wraps around the system... I'm all over the place this evening. Remind me not to drink next time when I'm doing this. No, that's not why. I'm kidding. You have this big cold conveyor belt that's wrapping around here, and this is the where you get the really heavy totals. I think if there's going to be anywhere that has that thundersnow possibility, it's going to be one of those intense bands in the cold conveyor belt wrapping around it. So I'd favor your shore points for that to occur. Probably not northwest of I-95. It looks like it's pretty far southeast of I-95, actually. So you go all the way down the Black Horse Pike here and you get halfway through there as you're entering into Atlantic County or whatever. And from there to the shore points is probably your better chance of seeing that. But it's going to be very isolated if it happens. There was a little bit of conditional symmetric instability in the soundings I look at near the coast, just a little bit. It might be enough for that, but I don't think it's going to be a big prominent thing. Let's see here. Okay, the hook between B and C between Carbon and Lehigh and Northampton and counties. That was that downsloping I talked about. So that you have upsloping going against the mountains here and so underneath of it. If, like I said, if there were no in a perfect world, there was no mountains here, the map would just continue on. Where is it at? So the map, the 1 to 3 range would just continue up here, and this wouldn't even be here. So it's because of that upslope going against the mountain peaks. It squeezes out a little bit extra moisture, and otherwise it would be 1 to 3 also. Okay. There was more comments, but it just jumped ahead, so I don't know what happened there. So this is not, the comments are not coming in real time. I'm answering some of you like probably a minute after you're saying. How will Emmaus do with the storm in terms of snowfall? My school's meteorological club is in a meeting right now, and we'd love to hear your opinion. Emmaus, I think you're solidly in the 3 to 5 inch range, but you're probably closer to 4. So either side of 4 inches there. Now, by the way, this map that I did, this does not include what already fell today. So a lot of areas had like an inch. Now some places even had 2 today. But that doesn't. This map did not include that. So this was started at 5 p.m. Everything you're going to get from 5 p.m. this evening through the end of the storm, which again is going to end anywhere from mid to late morning in the interior, and then early to mid-afternoon further east in the coastal regions. So nothing in Fairfield, Connecticut yet. You will get it in Fairfield, Connecticut. Trust me. You'll get it. Wilmington, Delaware, higher amounts. We have you on the edge, just like Philadelphia. I think you're right around 8 inches there, is before all is said and done in Wilmington. So again, whenever you're on a line of 5 to 8 and the next range up, D and E in this case, if you're on the range on the edge of 5 to 8 and 8 to 12, if you're right on the line, you're right at 8 basically. That's all that means. Okay. Jersey's been stealing all our snow. Why is the NAM overdoing wind speeds? Good question. It always does that. So the NAM is not really designed for that, especially the 3-kilometer version. It is a very high resolution, and so little trade secret here. When I use, excuse me, when I use the, I'm using the RGEM here for the wind gusts, which is usually pretty spot on. So when we're dealing with our clients that require wind information, which is critical to their operations, whether they're energy clients, whether they work outside, they're roofers, whatever it may be, we're going off the RGM most times. We weight it more because the 3-kilometer NAM is doing this for wind, which did come down. It's not as ridiculous as it was before, but you're not getting 54 mile per hour wind gusts up in Mount Pocono. I mean, you're going to have some gusts that might reach 45. So it's not quite as high as there. It has something to do with the physics of the model. It's really not designed for that. So there's certain models that are used for certain situations at different points in time. And this is one of those cases. You just don't use the NAM for that. Jeez. Yeah, because the NAM blows. That's funny. Wraparound effect of the storm. That's kind of like what we're dealing with the... You're arguing a little bit. So this cold conveyor belt is the wraparound. That's what a cold conveyor belt is. It's just a big, intense wraparound band. It's kind of like if you ever see... I wish I had a classic image of this where I could show you what I mean. It's really not shown well here on the European model. But this is like a big comma head that gets going here. And you get a big... This is the cold conveyor belt up here. And it's like big comma head. It kind of goes like this. Okay? So that's kind of... And this top part of the comma head is your cold conveyor belt where you're just getting very intense snow. But so that's why New Jersey and parts of Delaware are certainly going to get in on that. Certainly as you get up to Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Long Island, Connecticut. It's been a long day. I gotta go to sleep. I still do a video, a daily forecast video yet too. Connecticut, Rhode Island, Long Island, Massachusetts, and then eventually Maine. They'll get into heavier parts of that cold conveyor belt, and that's why they are going to be on the higher end of the totals. 17-year-old has tickets for the Sixers tomorrow from Central Bucks. When will the snow stop in Philly? Between... what do we send for Philly? 11. I sent Pennsylvania too in the alerts. We break them up with different forecasters. I want to say I sent either 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. or 12 to 2, but it's close enough. It's going to be done by early afternoon at the latest. It'll be out of Philly. But I think it's might be like noon, 1 o'clock. So if you have a game later in the day, I think they're playing later in the day. Don't ask me about the Flyers. I've given up on the Flyers. The Flyers are... I'm not going to say anything. Unwatchable right now. So, anyway, how do you think anyone will be able to get to 122 precipitation right now? I don't think we're going to get 20 to 1 out of this. So, when we're doing the... I don't know if I'll be able to do this. I can't do it. I don't have it loaded. So, when you're looking at... I know most people just look at these models and say, oh, that's what it's doing. Look, that looks cool. Oh, it shifted west. It shifted east. And I get it. If you're a weather enthusiast, you know what that's all you can really look at because you don't know what and a snow map and what it's putting out, the raw output. So what we're looking at is a model sounding, and there's actual raw numbers that come associated with this that you can take a look at. And in that, there's a thing called the buff kit, which will determine, based on that sounding, it'll do the calculus for you, because I don't feel like doing calculus anymore at 45 years old. Sorry, I don't. There is... it'll figure out what the ratios are going to be for you. And when you're figuring out snow ratios, it could be 10 degrees at the surface. It doesn't matter. What matters is what the temperature is going to be at the dendritic growth zone, which is where the snow was born, so to speak. So it turns from a super cooled water droplet, and it fluffs up. It turns into a snowflake. Whatever level that is, it's usually like 12,000 feet or thereabout, and then it falls all the way to the ground. Well, as that fluffs up, whatever the temperature up there at that level is plays a part. The temperature all the way to the surface plays a part. The wind plays the part. The omega plays a part. There's a lot of things that go into it. So it's not just it's not a simple formula. There's a calculus. There are calculus formulas. You can figure it out. I'm 45. I don't feel like my kid's a junior at Millersville right now, doing meteorology too. Okay, he is coming to me all the time with when he's doing he's doing thermodynamics right now, which is right up my alley. I love doing thermodynamics. That's physics. That's a little different. But he was in Calc 2 when he's at. First of all, I failed Calc 2 the first time I took it. But he's asking me questions about Calc 2, and I'm looking at him like he's nuts because I just don't remember it. When you get out of, I know they teach you how to do this manually, but there's things that figure this out for you now. You don't have to worry about doing half of this stuff. Every once in a while, I use calculus every once in a while, but it's a lot more basic than stuff he was asking me. So, but that's how we get those ratios, and it'll determine what exactly based on all those factors, what the fluff factor will be at that point. So, looks like you guys are go to sleep. Yeah, I need to go to sleep. Do I look tired? I think I have to look tired. I'm probably got a little adrenaline kick going right now because I'm and I have the beer too. By the way, if I offend anybody by drinking beer or something, I'm sorry, but that's my thing. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll understand. I mean, it's right there in my Twitter profile. Beer keeps me sane, and it certainly does. It really does, because I'd go nuts otherwise. So I'm hoping I didn't miss any questions there. I might have, because it skipped ahead on me there. Is Bristol, PA going to be closer to 8 or 12? I think you're closer to 8 there. Closer to 8, not to 12. So Bristol's another one of those right near Feasterville, Trevose, Langhorne, Northeast Philly, that whole area. That is going to be very close to 8. I know we have it in the 8 to 12. People to see the 12, I get it. But it's based on where that is on this map. With Bristol's right down here. Yeah, so you're just barely into that. Maybe like 8, 9 inches. You expect that. Now, if you go over it, that's fine. There are going to be some... I will tell you right now, because this is so tightly... This is a very tight map. And the chances that this is going to be 100% accurate for every single location on here is probably slim, if not none. Okay? Somebody in here is going to say, well, you had me in 3 to 5 and I got 2.8. Okay. It happens. But I'm more concerned about this western edge here. And this working out, because it was all week I didn't think Wilkes-Barre was going to get into this, or Scranton, and now it's kind of looking like you might get 1 to 3 inches out of this. So we'll see how far west this goes. The National Weather Service happens to agree with the furthest west extent here with the York County and Lancaster County, but they didn't put Lebanon in for some reason, which I thought was a little odd. Their advisories, now the advisories up here are a little bit different, the criteria for an advisory from the National Weather Service, so maybe that's why they didn't do it, but I think we're pretty good here. Usually when we have problems, it's going to be in the outskirts here. And, somebody in Pottsville saying, well, you said 1 to 3. We only got, a half inch overnight. That could happen. Or you could go the other direction and say, well, we said 1 to 3 and we got 4. Okay. We tried our best here. I'm telling you, I'm now working on 94 hours this week. 94. 3 hours of sleep last night. That's consistent across my staff. They don't have that many because I own the business. I have to do everything. And then they don't do the live streams and things like that. But this is what we do. But conversely, there's times in the summertime when I'm sitting by the pool, kicking back a beer, and everybody else is working a 40-hour work week, and I'm working like 20 or 25. So it works out. It works. No, I have to do the video tomorrow because there is a sponsor of the video tomorrow. It is Bosergeist Brewing Company. By the way, somebody please answer. This is very important. Somebody please answer this for me, because if not, I have to figure this out. And I thought I did figure this out. This should be streaming, or at least give you the option to stream in 1440p. So if it's not, I need to know that, because that means I need to mess with... Quakertown, I think, is about 5 to 6. Did you say 5 to 8 for Scranton? No. Scranton's 1 to 3. Probably closer to the 1. Well, no, 1 to 3. So I'm very interested in seeing if somebody can check that for me, what the streaming speed is. Or if you're not streaming at that level, if it gives you the option, because sometimes it'll give you the option to stream at different speeds. Okay? So that's what I really need to know that. It's very important information. So, wait for that. Watching in 1440p. Thank you. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Okay, awesome. Okay, so I did figure that part out right. I just got to remember when I first start these videos, even though Godzilla's playing, which, by the way, is no indication of what the storm's going to be. I actually paid somebody to design that for me for that intro, 5-minute countdown video. And, that's just going to be intro every time. When I go to spring and I start doing severe weather coverage, we're going to have, I might have Godzilla shooting fireballs or something. I don't know. We'll figure something. Maybe some thunderstorm clouds. It's not going to be the winter theme like it is now. Godzilla's just a thing we do. And as long as it's not a copyright infringement, then I don't care. Whatever. Okay, so, yeah, last storm 1440p was not working because I didn't have it configured correctly, and I thought I'd changed everything correctly when I did a test live stream afterwards. Apparently, it kept my settings. I just have to remember in the beginning of the video to make sure the audio is working, because the first 30 seconds or so of this video was wasted. So anyway, listen, guys, I appreciate your time. I'm gonna jump off here because I haven't seen my wife. My wife probably doesn't think I'm alive anymore, so I'm gonna go see her for a little bit and enjoy the rest of this beer with her. She's gonna drink her wine, of course, I'm assuming. And then I'm going to record the daily forecast video and then off to bed for me, because I've been up way too long and I'm running on fumes, and that's it. So somebody asked a question, Kurt here, is the line between C and D an elevation difference? It seems to be a regular dividing line for many storms. Typically it is, you're right. In this case, no, it's not. It's just because of how the close proximity of the precipitation. They're low offshore and where its position and where it is. But typically, you're right, that especially when we're dealing with rain snow lines, there is a fall line in here, which is right. The fall line kind of runs just where northwest of 95, like that. So there is an elevation difference right there. So you'll see a lot of splits and differences between that when we have these slop storms, which, by the way, they're going to be coming. Don't worry. And you have those cutoffs. So that's probably why. It's a good question. Anyway, so okay, yeah, I've been answering questions here. So I think I've been on long enough. I just need to just to give you the idea. The whole general idea here is that we are on track with what we have in our call here. I don't see any reason to change it. If you joined the video late, I went through a bunch of observations of why, and everything's making a case that we're still okay with this this projection. So I don't see any reason to change it. Enjoy the snow. It's going to be not really too hard to get rid of, because even if you get a lot, because it's going to be a powdery snow, not the kind that kills your back, but still take it easy. It's going to be freezing tomorrow. Even when you go out after it's done snowing, I mean, the wind's gonna be whipping around. You're gonna have blowing and drifting snow in some places. Just take it easy. Take it easy driving. The powdery snow doesn't make it any better to drive on. It does make it easier to remove. You have to shovel it. So that's it. Anyway, thank you very much for all of you coming onto the stream. I'm gonna continue doing these in the future. We have some bigger events, and hopefully I'll keep getting better at this. I'm trying here, but. Again, I'm like somebody said, I'm not a tech guru. You're a meteorologist. That's absolutely right. This is all new to me. Even the OBS I just got 6 months ago, and I just learned how to do the